Howdy folks, you on the C8 Gonna Speed 252 show. Scroll over to the right, click that subscribe button and join this awesome community.
What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the blog, and welcome back to another episode of C8 Gonna Speed 252. And I want to thank each and every one of you for pushing that play button. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please do. I would love to have you part of this community. Help me reach my goal of making or getting 25,000 subs by the end of this year. I would love to have 25,000 subs by the end of this year. So if you haven't subscribed yet, definitely push that subscribe button. And for all my current followers as part of the channel and watching this video right now, definitely always stay tuned. I'm going to bring you some exciting stuff in the near future. As you all know, I'm taking acting classes. I'm getting further and further along in my acting classes. My teacher are saying I'm doing great, both of them, so I'm really excited about that. I'm also planning to make a biography on myself with one of my friends who is a producer, and we're gonna put an awesome video together. I'm going to create a second YouTube channel for my acting. It will be some of my acting stuff from class, and I'll probably post my biography video on this YouTube channel on top of that YouTube channel as well. It'll give you some history, some background about me. It's going to be something that's special, about my life, literally from the day I was born up until where I'm at now. And I'm hoping to share that story with lots of people around the world. And if someone picks it up and turn it into something, that'd be great. But my goal is to always inspire people no matter what. And I'm literally so excited for this biography. And you guys, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be something that's going to be dear to my heart. And I'm looking forward to sharing each and every one of you. So once again, if you haven't subscribed yet, this is a channel to be a part of. I'm telling you that right now. I'm out here today, as you guys can see, the C8 Corvette behind me. And I seen something that came across my internet a couple days ago. And as you guys know, I'm hoping and praying that I can get the Z06. I'm a true believer in faith, and so I'm hoping I can get the Z06, and this car right here I can actually sell to a subscriber or someone out in the world who's looking for this car, probably in 2022, because I'm hoping the Z06 get announced this year, later this year, or maybe the beginning of 2022 and released in 2022. I'm hoping to really get into a Z06. It will be my first Z06 ever. This is my first Stingray, and I really do love this car. I want to, I'm taking care of it. I want to make sure that the next owner enjoys it as well, and I'm going to enjoy it while I have it because it's a blessing. And if I can't afford a Z06, then I will keep this car. But with that being said, I saw something that came across my screen that said, MotorTrends says that the E Ray will be faster than the Z06. Now, I found the information across Corvette's blogger website. If you all guys know Corvette blog, go check him out. Mr. Keith, awesome guy. He let me share some of his information, and I want to go ahead and share some of the information to you guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into some of this stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and read off some of this stuff. MotorTrends says the E Ray Corvette will be quicker than the C8 Z06. Now, here's the thing. One of the most appealing features of the E Ray Corvette is the all-wheel drive system. Now, we all know that, right? E Ray, we're thinking of hybrid, electric, whatever the case may be. As you guys know, this is all naturally aspirated. As you can see, the motor right here, 6.2 LT2. It has no electrical components in the front of this vehicle spinning these wheels. This car already drives like a all-wheel drive car. I mean, it literally does. It's quick off the line, especially more quicker than a Dodge Hellcat or anything like that, because the weight ratio of this car is really so freaking great. But now people are saying that the E Ray will be faster than the Z06. Now, I want to get into some of that because I know some of you guys are interested in buying an E Ray. Some of you guys are interested in buying a Z06, and I think both cars will be great. I don't know how much horsepower either one of these cars are going to come with. We just have a guess of what they say it may come with. But at the end of the day, I think both of these cars are going to be great. I'm going to give you some upside to both cars and some downsides to both cars. But another thing that MotorTrends says is that this alone can change how fast the 0 to 60 miles per hour compared to the Z06. Now, a lot of people will say that this C8 Corvette is actually faster than C7 Z06, but the Z06 will come back and catch at the end. And it's one of those things where I have not had the opportunity to race this car against the Z06 for my personal self. I would love to race it against the Grand Sport because in my personal opinion, the Grand Sport has 455 horsepower, 460. While that is front engine, this car is a little bit heavier than the Grand Sport, but the weight ratio is a little bit different and this car will not spin. So here's the picture here you guys see that has MotorTrends. This is what MotorTrends will say the E Ray will look like. You can see how the front bumper is a little bit different than this bumper in a sense. So MotorTrends also says, confidential, the column offers new numbers to the E Ray. The E Ray will be the Grand Sport model, which was the C7 model. Now, we all have heard rumors about the Grand Sport being called E Ray, and then also that General Motors trademarked another name, which is E Ray. And a lot of people are kind of going back and forth between whether or not this car would just be called E Ray or whether it be called Grand Sport. In my personal opinion, I'm going to leave this question for you guys here. I think the car should be called Grand Sport. It's part of the Corvette history. It's part of the heritage. So I definitely think this car should be considered a Grand Sport. You know, E Ray doesn't sound like a bad name, but I know General Motors is trying to push the whole electrical thing. At some point, they're saying in 2030, whatever, 35, all cars will be electric. So at some point, you can expect that the Corvette will be all electric as well. The E Ray name doesn't sound sporty, because I feel like you can make any car that sounds like it's non-sporty. E Ray, you know, it's one of those things where it sounds cool, but it doesn't sound as sporty as a Grand Sport. Now that's, you know, me being biased, because obviously I own a C7 Corvette Grand Sport, so I'm going to leave it at that. But here's an exciting part of the equation of what MotorTrends says. But what makes the C8 E Ray radically different from the old C7 Grand Sport is that its increased performance won't be the result of tweaks to the 6.2 liter V8 engine, but fronted mounted electric motors that is said to develop 215 horsepower, all-wheel drive, and a total system output of close to 590 horsepower. The E Ray will be quicker to 60 miles per hour than the forthcoming C8 Z06, Detroit sources says. So with that being said, and this all right here, you know, right here in this paragraph, so it's pretty much saying that the E Ray will have two electrical motors, one here, one there, planted in the front of this car. And just these two motors alone will give this E Ray 215 extra horsepower. Now here's the crazy part. I'm kind of curious. Now you guys answer this question down in the comment section below for me, because I don't really understand, and I love bringing questions to you guys. So you guys are some of the smartest guys on my channel. You have some bright ideas, and I'm kind of curious to see what your thoughts are. So if the two front electrical motors gives us 215 horsepower, now this is what this article is saying, it gives us 215 horsepower, but this motor back here alone is giving us 495 to the crank. How much horsepower they plan on putting back here if these two already bring us 215? I mean, at the end of the day, they just said it's going to be 590 horsepower total for the entire car for E Ray. You know, you do 215 minus 550. Is that what that's going to be putting out? I don't know. At the end of the day, 590 horsepower is sort of a big jump from this car to the E Ray. Definitely a big jump for the C7 Grand Sport, because that car was not equally balanced as this car was. We obviously have the engine in the back and in the front engine. So, and I always felt like the C7 Corvette Grand Sport has always been under horsepower. I almost bought a Z06 because I felt like the Grand Sport was underpowered. But at the end of the day, we all have to go the same speed limit no matter where you at. If the speed limit is 65 and there's me with the C7 Z06 and somebody else with the C8, we both got to go 65 unless we want a speeding ticket. At the end of the day, you know, it sounds good, but 590 horsepower for the Grand Sport E Ray sounds good to me, so I can give him that. What I also heard recently, what I talked to one of my subscribers, Mr. General Lee, and you know, I haven't had this conversation with Mr. Buddy Brown. Mr. Buddy Brown, he definitely wants an E Ray of a Grand Sport of sort, but this may stop you guys from personally probably buying the E Ray if this is true. People are saying that the E Ray may have the same body as the Stingray. They're saying that the E Ray may not come with the wide body kit like the Grand Sport did in the C7. Now, with that being the case, that will stop some people from buying the E Ray and getting the Z06, because the Z06 wide body, we know it's going to be wider because the tires on this back end of this car is 305s, and the tires on the Z06 that we saw in spy shots were 335, which tells us that the Z06 is going to have a wider body. But people are saying that the E Ray may not have such a wide body. I will admit, if you're standing at the front of this car is definitely wide. It's wider than the Grand Sport, but shorter than my Grand Sport. And that's because I see both of them parked inside the garage, so I kind of can see that indication. So at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not mad at the E Ray not being as wide as the Z06, but I also don't have any mindset right now of getting the E Ray. I kind of want the Z06. I would love to have a wider body, and I know with Lamborghinis, which is my dream car, the Lamborghinis comes with a wider body and a longer car. So I don't think Chevrolet is planning to make this vehicle longer than what it needs to be. With that being said, let's keep on going down this article. We missed the original 485 horsepower from the LT2 plus the 215. So it'll be crazy if Chevrolet actually decided to take 215 horsepower to the front wheels with the electrical motors on top of the 495 in the back. That car to me sounds a lot quicker than the Z06 off the line, and it would be faster than the Z06. And now here's the question: will the E Ray cost more than the Z06? Because if potentially General Motors do put 215 horsepower in the front wheel, keep the 6.2 V8 485 horsepower in the back, the E Ray will be quicker off the line and also quicker than the Z06. That's a lot of confusion that's going on that I don't know, which is kind of what they're talking about in this article here. You know, let's go on with some more of the stuff that they got to say. Also, don't feel too bad for those that pay more for the Z06, as MotorTrends Confidential says that the Z06 with the high revving naturally aspirated quad cam V8 and track tuned chassis will be faster car overall. So with that being said, they're saying now that the Z06 will still somehow end up being faster than the E Ray, because it's going to be the track focused car. Now, I don't blame them for that, but at the end of the day, let's face it, if you get a jump on a lot of people with the two front motors being in the front, you may be able, if they're a terrible driver, you may be able to beat them with that. Because this car has, like I said before, has already gotten the jump on a lot of other people, and it's quicker than a lot of cars already off the line. So if you can add the horsepower on this car on top of the two front electrical motors on the front of the C8, it's going to be a lot quicker off the line than a lot of other cars. Now, I know I heard things speculating like Dodge is planning on stop making a Hellcat or what it case be. I don't know how true that is. Clearly Dodge, like, you know, at some point some people said the Viper may come back mid-engine. I don't know, they could be working on that. Obviously the Viper is a very super rare car. I have no interest in owning one. You know, if somebody gave me one, I would totally take it. But I do think that this car will be a monster of a car to keep up with for many, many years to come. And I said it because Chevrolet is having a tough time building this car right now. The car shut off because I haven't been driving it, and that's what happens when you don't drive it for a long period of time. For all of you that is new to the channel, Chevrolet is still having a tough time building this car right now. So this car is really rare. The crazy part is I got my buddy Brink of Speed to look up how much my car is worth currently right now. I'm going to make a video about that probably in a couple of days, telling you exactly how much this car is worth with the amount of miles on it, and it's going to blow your freaking mind, you guys. It's going to blow your mind. But I'm so excited to see what the Z06 has to offer, and I'm so excited to see what the E Ray has to offer as well. We already know that the Z01 and the Zora is going to be top of the line, top of the echelon. It's going to be crazy expensive. It's going to be crazy fast. And you know, like the Z01, I wish I could afford a Z01 for the C7, but I realized, like, how much extra can you really do to that car? Like, realistically, like if I bought a C7 Z01 tomorrow, which I can't afford it, how much extra do I really need to do to that car to make it faster? Like 755 horsepower is nuts. So can you imagine a C8 Corvette with 1,000 horsepower, electrical motors in the front, how quick that car will be off the line if the wheels don't spin? It'll be tough for anything to beat it unless you get something that's modified. And I know people will say there'll be something on the road that can beat it. Yes, if you modify a vehicle, it will probably end up beating that car. But it kills me how people be like, oh, I go out and build this Honda and build it and it'll be quicker than your car. Yeah, well, that sounds cool, but like, I don't know exactly if that's not really how much fun that's going to be. But at the end of the day, you guys, I just want to give you guys that feedback on what MotorTrends said in Corvette blogger post today. They think that the Z06 is going to be a little bit slower than the E Ray off the line, and that kind of makes sense because it's going to have the two front electrical motors, and this car is already quick off the line. But what are you guys' thoughts? Do you think the E Ray will be quicker than the Z06 off the line, or do you think the Z06 will be quicker than the E Ray off the line? And would you consider getting the Z06 or the E Ray? Leave your comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, and I'm looking forward to reading all of you guys' comments. Once again, thank you for being part of this channel, and I will catch you in another episode of C Gonna Speed 252. We out.